We are live at the theater.
Semi-live.
This is semi-live. All right, hello, everyone. My name is Daniel.
My name is
Uh,
Sydney.
yeah, I didn't know how to finish this sentence. Welcome back to Clearyourcache podcast, the podcast where we each pick topics and we like to talk about them, and I like to drink wine while we do it. All right, so we are actually not in person filming again. We're doing this online because we feel like it's very important to keep up with your social distancing and stay at home. I know a lot of shit's going on about Trump wanting to raise the quarantine early, which I think is a crock of shit.
Yeah.
And like personally, I don't think you should do it because like stuff is not just like it's not black and white. It's not like tomorrow you can just set a date and then all of a sudden boom, we're done, everything's good, we can go straight back to normal.
Yeah.
There's like ups and downs for a reason, and stuff is going to have to like slowly die off. It's going to be a process. So
Yeah.
people can't just like wake up May 1st and be like, okay, great, we're good now.
It's fine.
That's
It's
not
not
how that fucking
fine.
happens.
It's not okay.
No.
Yeah, they made
And
it mandatory now. Like it wasn't mandatory before, but as we all know, I still have to go to work. It is mandatory starting tomorrow on Monday that we wear face masks while working.
are you
Yep,
serious?
you have. So I went and bought a $30 air ventilation N95 whatever
Uh-huh.
face mask on eBay because they give you some, but I mean, everybody's dug through the box and like your hands have touched it, and it just doesn't make much sense to me. But now we are required to wear them.
Oh god. Okay, but like, please tell me at least that like it needs to be required for every customer that walks in that fucking store to have a face mask on also.
As far as I know, that is not a thing. I haven't seen a sign for it. The majority of them are wearing them. Like, okay, maybe not the majority, but like a good, I would say 40% of people I see are wearing them, which is good. But, a lot of people still aren't. And, if you don't want to wear one, that's chill, but don't get in my fucking face. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, really.
ask me what you want from 6 feet.
And I just want to like I also want to point out on the podcast, Sydney is like modest and like isn't going to bring it up, but I want to bring up the fact that like people are being complete assholes to essential employees, and that is including Sydney. So Sydney has had a really rough week this week because customers have just been rude and mean to her.
Yeah.
And I want to like point out that it these people are essentially putting their health at risk, and they're being very respectful of what your needs are, and they're trying to take care of you and make sure you have fucking groceries in your house to eat. So please be nice and respectful to them, because from like what I've heard, and then like not just with Sydney, but like all the essential employees, do not be rude to them.
We're just trying
They're
to get by
already
here.
not having a good
Yeah.
day because like, and it just you're just adding to their shit. So that is 100% not okay. So do not be a dick.
Yeah, if you must go in public, please, for the love of Christ, don't be an ass. Like, it's not my fault, And like, I always try to, like, I don't want to complain about it because you know how I am. I'm a fucking cusp date Gemini and Cancer, so I have this whirlwind inside of me at all times that tries to see things from all perspectives. So I get
Hmm.
why customers are irritated, but I feel like a lot of them, when they speak to me, don't get how frustrated I also am. Like, this is not my doing, okay? Like, I understand that it's frustrating that we're not getting the shipments in that we should. So yeah, we're out of fucking romaine lettuce, Kyle. All right. But don't
And it's not like you single-handedly fucking released the
right.
virus into the air.
Like,
Like,
I can't help that. I'm just trying to come to work, do what I can while being in close contact with people because what a lot of people I think aren't thinking about as customers, because it is a grocery store. This isn't even the front line of like a medical field. I have to be around so many associates for that time. So while you're thinking in bed at 6 a.m., you're getting up and getting ready to go to Walmart at 7 because we've closed the doors and now you have to wait. Okay, well, I've been there since 4 a.m. around 60, 70 people already that have been checked their temperature and shit like that and gone through a screening, and I'm still at risk. And then you come in here and yell in my face with your breath spray and bullshit, mad that I don't have something that I can't fucking control. It just is what it is. Like, you're frustrated,
Yeah, and
I'm
it's
frustrated.
not your fault. It's
Yeah.
not your
I
fault.
can't fix it, all right? If I could fix it, I would fucking fix it. All right? I don't want to talk to you any more than you want to talk to me 6 feet or 6 inches apart from each other. I don't want to talk to you.
God, like it's just yeah. Okay. But and bottom line, be respectful, be understanding, and just realize that that person is putting themselves at risk more than you are for just fucking going out and getting groceries. So, on that note, I'm going to segment into, and Sydney doesn't know that I did this. I kept it a secret, but to like start off on a light mood here, I found the most ridiculous, funniest Craigslist ad that I could possibly find.
Oh, fuck.
and, and I'm going to read it to you in a sultry voice.
I want to hear it.
Okay. So this is, I think this, like, it's not famous, so not a lot of people are going to know, but this is the funniest fucking thing ever. Okay. So this ad is in, like, it's in Chicago.
Okay.
And I'm not going to tell you the nickname of this ad because it actually has its own nickname.
Shit.
Okay. So I'm just going to start reading, and I'm just going to, I'll take pauses to talk about it.
Okay.
Okay. I am writing this message to anyone that might have been in the Lakeview Thursday night around 9 p.m. Specifically, I'm looking for anyone who was by Stratford and Broadway Street, which was where my car was parked. Obviously, I have a large degree of humility when writing this, because I am seeking people out here to see if anyone has information on who may have taken a gigantic shit on the windshield of my brand new Tesla Model X. This, and then underneath this, it says, "This is not a joke."
Oh, shit.
All right. This ad's pretty long, so I'm going to keep going.
Okay.
I was on a Okay. I was on a date with a girl who was very, very conservative. It was our third date, and when we walked out, sure enough, we saw that someone had taken a very large shit on the windshield, comprised of 2 sizable logs and a smaller ball, which had rolled down my windshield to my wipers.
Who shits in balls? First of all, I got a lot of questions here, but that one's at the top, okay?
Oh, God. Okay. P was not visible, leading me to believe that there were perhaps someone that had shit in a container at home and then threw it in my car later after they arrived at the scene. Which is really interesting forensics. I don't even know if that counts as forensics, but like you stop and think, oh, someone shit on my car, but there's not any pee.
Yeah, because really, I mean, if you're shitting, you're probably peeing a little. You can't help it. You're pushing.
Like 99% of the time, you're going to have piss come out. Like it's just going to happen.
That's how that works.
Yes.
Good on him for noticing that, though.
I know. I mean, like, can you just imagine, like, this girl standing on one side of the car, this guy standing on the other side of the car, and he's just like, well, I mean, there's not any pee.
Yeah. Somebody planned this.
Yes.
I like how he said she's very conservative, as though she doesn't know what shit is.
Yes.
She's real conservative, so this was just completely out of the way. No, bitch, it was completely
Yes.
out of the way, conservative or not.
Oh god. Now listen, I almost felt sorry for this guy when I was reading this, and then toward the end of it, I like realized that I hate him and he deserves this, and you'll understand why when I get
All
there.
right, read the rest
Um,
to me.
yeah, I'm gonna read the next paragraph. Now I know a lot of people might find this funny, but my date was really traumatized by the whole thing, and I have zero leads. What's more, the Chicago Police Department refused to help me, a tax paying citizen, clean the shit off of my car. But they obviously didn't hesitate to tell me that I was not allowed to drive with poop on my windshield because it would obstruct my visibility. I had to use a red eye magazine and a bottle of water to clean it off, and that really sucked. I am looking for solid intelligence in regards to anyone who might have seen anything. Do not reply with a car type you think you saw or a suggestion. I am writing this to someone who saw something in particular, or perhaps someone who indeed knows the person who pulled this stupid joke on me. As for the latter, if you were willing to leak the name of the person who did this, I promise you that I would spare you all legal charges and physical retaliation. However, I will plan on ruling out you with DNA, for I have kept a sample
Oh.
for this shit, for I can see someone trying to pull another fast one on me, and trust me, that is not going to happen.
God. Oh.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I've got a few more paragraphs and then we'll talk
All
about
right.
this. Taking dumps on a person's car is something children do, not adults. First of all,
I've
children
never
don't do
seen.
that.
No. Okay, guy. All right.
Yeah. All right. And although from time to time I could see why someone deserves it, this was absolutely uncalled for. And I think it says a lot about the person of Lakeview and those that work at the Rocks. The staff here laughed at me when I told them what happened. You are all pieces of shit for watching this happen and doing nothing. Probably watching there watching there as some jerk tossed a giant shit on my windshield, or perhaps you even saw it drop from his or her butthole as the pee was collected separately.
Okay.
which still makes some which still makes sense, so they wouldn't slip on the pee after it was all said and done and trying to get off of my car.
This guy's stretching now. Like,
Yeah, this guy is like going
he
hard here.
sounds paranoid as fuck. All right.
Paranoid, and like it's ridiculous, but it's fucking
Yeah.
funny. All right, listen closely. I am offering a significant compensation to anyone who has a good, solid intelligence that I will handle in my own way. I am not going to mention dollar amounts here, but I work in the medical community, and trust me when I say I think the amount I have in mind will not disappoint. After all, I do own a Tesla Model X. Yeah.
Mm. Perhaps this is
Last,
why someone shit on your car.
yeah, really. Like that kind of mentality, I would shit on his
You sound
car.
like kind of a prick.
Yes. All right, last paragraph. Lastly, a message to the person who did this. I I will find you. Do you understand me? I have already had my lawyer draft up subpoenas to acquire footage from nearby security cameras, amongst other things. Personally, I think you need medical attention to do what you have done. I am so greatly saddened this city has been overrun by thugs and poor people who have been having too many children.
Okay.
Yeah. I cannot be surprised that Donald Trump is doing so well when I see my car had someone shit or toss shit on it in clear view of the public. And maybe he should be doing well if he is better suited at taking on the maniacs who have been overrunning this once great city. Good intel on who did this. good money. I'll end on that. Michael.
All right, Michael, listen.
Michael, you deserve to have your car shit on.
Nobody cares that your car was shit on. All right. And after that little segment there, you decided to put it on Craigslist. I bet everybody will do everything in their power to make sure you never find out who shit on your car.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
bet a
And
lot more
first of
people
all,
want to shit on it now anyway.
yes. And honestly, first of all, that little poor people segment was
Unnecessary.
complete bullshit.
Like,
Second of all, I don't think a poor person would have done it. I think a rich person would have
yeah,
done
it
it.
sounds like you pissed somebody off within your own little tax bracket and they
Mm-hmm.
decided to have some fun and shit on
Oh
your
my god.
Tesla.
I would honestly, I think that I would shit in some Tupperware and I would make sure he watched as I poured
Yeah.
it on his car.
Yeah, because I mean, by what standard do you consider poor? Because if somebody's got nothing to lose by your equation of, financially, why wouldn't they make it known that they did that?
Oh yeah.
Because if that's your
And it's
mentality on how people act according to their financial statuses, then I wouldn't imagine you would think some poor person would think they have a lot to lose. I'd just stand
exactly.
there and
And
stare
it's
at
just
you.
I love that the police department was like, I'm not going to help you clean this
Yeah.
up, but you have to clean it up before we'll let you drive.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you called about that, and we can't do anything, but you may not leave this place before that is cleaned up, sir.
Yeah, I the only thing I'm going to do tonight is just make sure that your day is worse.
Yep, because you have a fucking
Oh god, it
Tesla.
was so good. I could not. That this article is, or this Craigslist ad is nicknamed the Tesla pooper.
Yeah, appropriate.
Yes.
There was one time my mom tried to put, she was trying to sell something on Craigslist. I think it was an old textbook or something. She had
Hmm.
written out all the information, like gently used, um, blah, 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 like the standard shit. Well, she was trying
Yeah.
to upload a picture of the book and she accidentally uploaded a picture of her in her bathrobe, which I don't know how that got on her phone, but she almost posted it. And I was like, Mom, don't do that.
Oh
You're
my god, that
posting
is so
yourself
funny.
as gently used, but great condition. So, first of all, that's false because that's false advertising. It's not gently used. You've
Oh.
had two children.
I'm gonna choke on the line.
You get reprimanded for that
Oh god, I love your mom so much,
so much.
so much. I hope she listens to. Oh god, if she listens to this podcast, she might think differently about both of us.
I don't care.
It's fine. You know what? It's out there.
It's
We're
out,
out
Mom.
there.
You listening?
Hi, mom.
Hi, Mom.
All right. So, um, I picked. I'm just gonna. We're just gonna go straight the fuck in.
Just get right in.
We're just gonna go right in. Um, I picked National Lookalike Day, which is on April 20th.
April.
The day that this podcast comes out. If you're listening to it later, shame on you.
Get
Um,
with it.
yeah. So let's look into the day. It's pretty self-explanatory. This day was created as like a fun day to look like another person, which immediately made me think of Halloween, but it's kind of like a more subtle version of that.
Gotcha.
Um, and it's the headline was like, growing up, did a teacher constantly call you like by another student's name? I got called David a lot. Some of us often hear words like, you remind me of someone, or
Yeah.
you look just like so and so. Which, to be honest with you, it always pissed me off.
I,
I'm kind of like, why don't I just look like me? Like,
yeah.
why can't you remember me?
Yeah. I have gotten that, the you look like,
Yeah.
since I was a child. I get confused for people, just random people sometimes at work.
Hmm.
And I'm like, no, that's wrong. You didn't get that right. That's not who I am. Or that's people will think that somebody else is me. Like, I've always gotten that. I don't know if
Mm,
I just have one of those faces or what, but like growing up when I was a kid, I got a lot of you look like the Olsen twins. Then as I got a little older,
really?
yeah, then as I got a little older, it was you look like Jodie Foster, which I'm super
I can
proud of
see
that
that.
one now. I fucking love Jodie Foster.
I can see the Jodie Foster one. I can't see the Olsen twins
Yeah,
though.
I was real little. And then when I got to be a teenager, somebody told me or asked me one time when we went to Disney. I was 16 years old, and they were like, "Has
Mhm.
anybody ever told you you look like Avril Lavigne?" I was like, "Sure haven't," but that was the
That's a
first.
new one.
It's new. Thank you.
Well, he was a boy and you were a
That's
girl.
right.
Can we
Sandra
make that
Bland.
any more obvious?
Jesus. And then just random people at work, like this girl that is on my team at work. She'd be like,
Uh-huh.
"Hey, this guy came up and told me such and such, like this vendor," and she'll be like, "I think he thought I was you because
Mhm.
I can't do anything about it. He thinks I'm a supervisor and he thinks I'm Sydney." Like, then people will call me by other people's names, like Avery. There used to be a girl there that, and we look nothing alike.
Oh God. I don't
Nothing.
think Avery I don't think I liked her.
No, I don't think anybody did. But like, I got confused for her. Like, nobody just remembers, like you said, like me. And then I get called my friend's name a lot too. Like, it
Mhm.
doesn't it we don't look alike. First of all, she has blonde long hair,
Mhm.
wears it in a ponytail. We don't work in the same area. Like, we're in the same area, but we don't have like the same job. We
Uh-huh.
don't have the same associates, really. We check on each other's associates if one's not there, but it's not like I'm around them a lot for them to get confused. And then we were both support managers together, worked completely opposite shifts, completely
D
opposite. And
does it
people,
rhyme with door
it
me?
does.
Okay.
And I would get called her name over the walkie constantly. And I'd be like, "You had a
What?
50-50 shot and you got it wrong."
I don't even think you guys look
We
alike.
don't. Like, I just get called different
Uh,
people's names, and then all through growing up, everybody was like, "You look so much like so and so." God.
you look so much like Dormy Lormy.
I'm gonna tell her that. Dormy Lormy.
Dormy Lormy.
Oh shit. It just
Oh
happened
God.
2 days ago.
That is like that's weird because like there like sometimes I can see things. I can actually see the Jodie Foster thing like dead out.
Yeah.
Um, but I can't see the Dormy Lormy one.
No. I can't either. Like,
No.
it's not there.
Right. Well, at least they're practicing on how to observe.
I guess.
Or maybe you two just practice how to observe this holiday every day and you don't even know. Although I can't see it. Um, because
Although
you
you're
celebrate by
wrong.
dressing. Yeah. You celebrate by like dressing like someone you see, or like just something as simple as like copying your style, fixing your hair like they do. You don't have to like dead ass dress up like them. It's a much more like subtle version of Halloween.
Yeah.
Um, and then obviously you can post this on social media and use the hashtag National Lookalike Day, which, you know, all of these holidays that we talk about, I've never heard of
Yeah.
these hashtags.
Me
I've never
neither.
seen them used. If you want to go for it, do
That's
it.
why we picked
But
this. It's
yeah.
interesting. We want to know more.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this podcast and you want to use these hashtags, please use them, but then tag us on, if you're doing it on Instagram, which I would assume you're putting pictures on Instagram, then please, you know, hashtag Clear Your Cache podcast or at sign Clear Your Cache podcast so that we can see what you're doing.
Yeah. That'd
Um,
be cool. I want to see
yeah,
somebody subtly
I would
dress up.
love to. Um, And then another thing that I would actually would really love to see this, because I'm about to dive into the topic of doppelganger. So if you are listening to this and you have a doppelganger or you look like a famous celebrity, please post pictures of you and the celebrity online. I will scroll through that shit for days.
You know what? I have had people in this city
Uh huh.
for a few years now, probably about 10 years, say that I have a doppelganger. in the
Really?
city that we live in. And
Hmm.
I've never seen her, but people have told me stories about how they will try to communicate with my doppelganger that, looks like me, and
What?
then she doesn't respond to them, and they realize that it's not me, that she just looks so much like me. They think it's me, and then when it clicks, like she's confused,
Uh-huh.
they're like, "Oh, you're not Sydney. Sorry."
What? I want to
Yeah,
know.
like Caitlin's dad thought I was out playing basketball one day so much that he honked his horn and waved and then asked Caitlin later why I ignored him.
We need to track this person
We got to
down.
find him.
I want to know and I want to see, but you can't look at them according to the
I'll
myths.
die.
Yeah. Which I actually have an anecdote about a doppelganger that I'm going to tell you in just a minute.
Get into it.
So just to dive a little bit into what a doppelganger looks like, it is basically like the spitting image of yourself. You might call this a doppelganger. However, seeing a doppelganger suggests that you've seen a spirit double who roams the earth, which, we're going to dive into because I thought that was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
In folklore, seeing your doppelganger signals a bad omen.
Yeah.
Through over the years, the term has just come to mean someone that looks just like you, not necessarily a spirit guide. So it's kind of got altered a little bit. Um, but I want to tell you guys, I'm not sure if you know about this, Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
But for anyone who's listening, we're not that far away from Nashville, so sometimes we'll travel a little bit and we'll go down to Nashville, Tennessee. Um, but our friends Lauren and Javante,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not their real names. uh, they actually, me and them went down to Nashville to eat like homemade ramen.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were sitting down eating, and this guy comes in, literally sits down beside me, and our two friends were like staring at this guy, and I was like, "What are you guys doing?" And they was like, "Daniel, the guy that's sitting beside you." And it was a very how do I say this without sounding super old? Like a hip atmosphere, quote
Yeah.
unquote. So like everyone was sitting like right beside everyone else in these like little bitty cute modern chairs, and the tables were super close to each other, and it was just a very like modern
Yeah.
atmosphere. So like this guy was literally sitting right beside me. But I have anxiety, so like obviously I wasn't like staring at anyone other than our two friends.
Right.
Um, so they were staring at him though, and was like, "Daniel, I think your doppelganger is like sitting beside you." And it's weird because that day I chose to wear a white sweater, and I wore white tennis shoes to match.
Yeah.
And then obviously I was wearing jeans, and this person was wearing a white sweater and jeans and white tennis shoes to match, and
Ooh.
had their hair fixed like me. And they was like, "Daniel, like, look at him, but don't directly look at him." And I
Don't look
was
into his
like,
eyes, but like,
yeah. Well, and that's what I was like. I got online and Googled, and I was like, okay, I can look at him, but we can't make eye contact. So I was trying to look at him, and like I just got like his profile, and I was like, I don't think he looks exactly like me. And they was like, no, 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 no. They was like, he does. Um,
isn't that weird though? Because
and
sometimes people say that, like, when you really really look like somebody, you don't see it.
yes, and I actually have that written in my notes, because I thought that was weird, because that always comes up. It always comes
Yeah,
up.
because you
Like
don't
other
actually know
people will
what
be
your
like,
face
"Oh
looks
yeah,
like.
yeah, exactly." It's like a brain perception type of thing.
Yeah.
Um, but it was strange because, we had already ordered, and they were about to order, and I ordered something really weird. Like, I ordered a regular ramen bowl, but I ordered like extra pork shoulder on the side, and then
Ugh.
I ordered 2 um extra, like some type of certain rolls.
Yeah.
And um they brought out this big tray, and it only had my order and his order on it. And they did that because we had ordered the exact same thing.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's weird,
And
man.
I know. And I was like looking, everyone was like staring at me, and I was like, okay, I am a little creeped out. I'm not going to look at him. Me and him didn't look at each other. Like, we didn't even like acknowledge the fact that we had ordered the same
Maybe he was
thing, like,
privy
at
to
all.
it too.
Uh, I'm thinking maybe he was. Um, but then we kind of like turned it into a game, and it got creepy because I have a stainless steel Apple Watch on my left wrist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's the stainless steel gold version. I'm not trying to be bougie or anything. We all know that I'm poor. Um, but I have the stainless steel 42 millimeter gold with a stone band
Yeah.
on my left wrist. And even like Javante was like, he's wearing the exact same Apple Watch on the exact same wrist.
Like,
And
what if, all right, so doppelganger is your spiritual
mm,
double. Like,
yes.
completely set aside from, like, people do look like me in the
Hmm.
world, and there's one in town. If the doppelganger scenario is true, this could have been an actual spirit double in your presence. Where do you think that he would have come from? Because there's a lot of, like, information circulating about it, and I've dived into
Hmm.
these topics quite a bit, and I did it, and actually did a different video with Caitlin on stuff like this before, where,
Uh-huh.
like, do doppelgangers come from alternate realities?
Well, see, I'm actually really happy that you brought that up because that's a segue. I have a like in my own personal theory that I've developed. And I mean, I like when I was like doing this research, I altered it just a little bit because like doing the research kind of just got my brain flowing. But before I bring that up, I have one more thing that was just like it was very spine chilling to me
Okay.
because like when Javante brought that up, I was like, okay, yeah, he's wearing the same Apple Watch on his wrist, but a lot of people don't know that, and like some tech experts probably do, um, but when you wear your Apple Watch on your left wrist, the orientation that the Apple Watch comes in the box points the digital crown up towards your elbow automatically if you put it on your wrist.
Okay.
I don't wear mine like that. I actually, when I wear it on my left wrist, I actually have it switched to where the digital crown is like pointing toward my hand, which a lot of people don't do
You mean like the
because,
knob?
yes, because whenever they bend their wrist, it hits the button. But I just
Uh,
like to wear mine backwards like that. And I have the Apple Watch settings switched to where it flips my screen upside down to where it is the right orientation for me. So I was like, Javante, which direction is the digital crown facing? Because that's the only thing that's going to creep me out. Because I intentionally went in to swap this the other way, which is the way no one wears theirs.
that's
And he
exactly
was
the
like,
way I wear mine.
that's exactly the way you wear yours?
Yeah, because I'm right-handed, so I put my watch on my left wrist, and the crown hits my hand whenever I bend it. Yep.
Really? I didn't know that. Uh,
Are you my
but like
doppelganger?
we're the same. You were in Nashville that day. I know it was
It
you.
was me.
It was you.
Got you.
Got me. But yeah, and his digital crown was facing the same way, and I was like, "Holy shit! Okay, that's weird." But since we've brought that up, before I get into like my genetics segment here, I'm going to tell you about like my theory since we have the perfect opportunity to segue into
Yeah,
that.
let me hear your theory because I got
Okay.
a lot.
Okay. So, okay. And like people are probably going to think I'm a whack job for saying this, but I don't really care because it's really not that far fetched.
Yeah.
My whole life, I've like seen things. Like I've seen ghosts. I've seen like spirit. I see stuff. My entire family has. Like it's just a thing, and I want to be a skeptic because I don't like it and it scares me. But I've seen fucking ghosts. Like that's all you
Yeah.
can say. Um, so I do have a theory because you know how everyone has like a spirit guide.
Yeah. Yeah. We've talked about that.
Um, yeah, and like everyone's got a spirit guide, but like you may never even see your spirit guide if you have a gift. Most of these psychics or people who are actually legit, they have a spirit guide to help inform them, or they're kind of like a mediator
Yeah.
to say. So I am thinking that what if your spirit guide either looks like you or he takes the form of you, and that this is a comforting familiar face, it looks similar to yours, and then he presents himself to you not as a like I'm going to make you die early type of deal, but what if he knows when your life cycle is up or if you're going to die soon? So he shows up in your life as like a little, hey, this is me. This is, I look similar to you. And then when you do pass, which would be soon, then you have a comforting and familiar face, which is your spirit guide to help mediate and guide you from one life of existence to another. And that way he's kind of like, hey man, it's time for you to go. I'm here. I'm going to help like take you where you need to go. Or like so and so, hey, you've died. And you have a familiar and comforting face that looks like you, or is just at least someone that you have seen in the past and looks familiar to you because you fucking seen them recently.
Yeah. Well, that theory is completely contingent on the belief that if you see your doppelganger, then you will die soon.
Yeah, and like not necessary, and like I'm looking at the perspective of seeing your doppelganger doesn't cause you to die soon. It's just your spirit guide knows that your life is almost up, so he's gonna like come visit you to be like, hey, what's up? Like,
Well,
I'm giving you a familiar face to help you
that's
through
your own
this.
theory. So how do you feel about possibly seeing your doppelganger then?
I don't know. I haven't died yet. But to be like, I mean, if he did try, he did not do the best job because I didn't actually like see his face, and I'm gonna need him to come back and be like, "Yo, what's up? You're going out soon."
You're going
If he's
down.
been with me my if he's been with me my whole life, I'm gonna need him. He knows I need shit spelled out for me like to a T, and if he hasn't done that, I'm just gonna I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. See, doppelgangers to me, anytime I've really ever looked into them, I know that there's the whole thing about it's a spirit double, and when if you see it, you'll die. And
Mhm.
if that's true, I wonder then, like, where does the spirit double come from? Is it this astro plane or is it a different one? Because I've never personally thought about the idea of them being a spirit guide because I don't put those two together because a lot of people who have spirit guides, they do have a gift. And I'm not saying that
Mhm.
everyone doesn't have a spirit guide. It's very lucrative how that stuff is perceived because not everybody believes it. But some people
Right.
are more sensitive to supernatural occurrences than others. You would be one of them that is more sensitive.
Mhm.
Caitlin is one of them that is more sensitive. I am not that sensitive to them. So, what I mean by that is like you guys see stuff and you hear stuff and you feel stuff, whereas mine is more, it's more like an empath where
Hmm.
I feel emotion and I get weird feelings, and generally when that happens, it means something's coming. But
Right. And
I don't see or feel or hear voices or not, that sounds crazy, but like ghosts and spirits and shit.
right.
Like I'm not sensitive to that. I just more have inklings of occurrences and bad situations or something, is about to happen.
Right. And I'm intrigued in the fact that I feel like you attract people who are more sensitive,
Yes.
because I am more sensitive. Caitlin is more sensitive. Your sister is more sensitive.
Whether she wants to believe it or not, yes, she is. She is
Yes.
extremely sensitive.
Yeah. So like I would like to know what about that like attracts you to surround yourself in your life with sensitive people.
Right. Because it's it's very strange because I've always had people attracted to me. It's not like I'm actually make friends, okay? I'm going to put it this way, just on a scale people can understand. I am one of the shyest, most just completely to myself people because I don't really like to interact. I don't like change. A lot of things make me uncomfortable, and I like to be comfortable. So anytime people enter my life, it's generally not because I've inserted myself. It's because they've just either inserted themselves in my life or we've happened to cross paths and they have fortunately wanted to be around me for whatever god awful reason. So, and I do make some friends. Like I will put myself in positions to meet people and shit. That's not what I'm
Hmm.
saying. But it does seem like a lot of people who are sensitive to supernatural occurrences
Find themselves into your life.
find, yeah, they are, I find them to be in my life. And I
Hmm.
could not tell you why. I don't know if one's like one of us is like a lightning rod and the other one's the lightning, and y'all, like, I don't know.
I have no idea, but I do find it weird that me and Caitlin have been like in the same room. We've been in the same place all the time, and I feel like stuff generally doesn't really happen when we get together.
Right.
But I like in my mind, I'm like, I feel like it would be more apt to happen if we were together because we're both sensitive.
You would think.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure what's up with that. But I am very interested into that. I might actually look into that to see.
Yeah, because
Um,
it's very strange to interact with people like you and Caitlin that
mhm.
are very sensitive because I'm not, but I'm able to kind of, I can come with a logical standpoint of, okay, I believe you. I do. Like, I don't
Mhm.
think you're crazy, but like, you need to like tell me exactly what you felt, where and what
And
time, and like figure it out.
right, like you need all of the
Yeah, I need
information.
data.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people that you are so good at this podcast of just like providing some segments, like some segues, because my next section is for the people who need the data.
It's me.
Um, yeah, yes, like even like we all know there are skeptics out there. We all know like some people. I want to be a skeptic. I feel like that would be fucking easier. But I like kind of looked at the other side of this,
Hmm.
because there is a science to this. So doppelgangers aren't really difficult to imagine as you would think. I know a lot of people think of them as like conspiracy theories, or it's a far out thing, or it's an omen, but it's really not as weird as you think. And so I've got some like information from globalnews.ca. I have no idea if that's credible, but I got it. Um, it's like a Rubik's Cube. You can have a lot of different variations. However, there is a numbers game to it.
Yeah.
Though our features vary more than any other animal, our genes actually don't. Genetically, we're not really that much diverse as far as chromosomes and DNA go. That's all actually very, very similar. There's just really small, minute changes that make up our features and our face and
Right.
all of that
That's why
anatomically.
you can look like great great grandpa. It's spitting image of his war picture whenever you're a teenager. It's just
E- Exactly. Um, so when you think about it in terms of genetics, and you think about the fact that there are billions and billions and billions of people in the world, you're going to have features that are going to resemble someone else, and there's only so many different combinations that can be in the world, and although they completely look different to us because of our perception, um, we could have the same nose and the same eyes as someone else, and could potentially be enough to look like someone else.
right.
And when you throw in the fact that like there's a certain percent of the population that dyes their hair blonde, then you add and compound onto that. So what if you both dye your hair blonde and you've got the same eyes and you've got the same nose and you've got the same chin? Then automatically that's going to make you pretty much look like a doppelganger. So in the science aspect of that, that is a lot more probable than you think.
Right.
Um,
You're
so
gonna
and
look
then
like somebody, whether you've noticed it or not. You
right,
probably have a quote unquote doppelganger somewhere in the world.
exactly. Um, and apparently both of ours just happens to be close to us.
Yeah. Never
Uh,
seen mine, but
yeah. Um, and then like another segue that you hit on perfectly. Even though our features vary more than like any other animal, um, our own brain's perception is not really going to let you see how close you resemble someone else, because when you look in the mirror every single day, you pretty much have your own face memorized as far as looking in the mirror.
mhm.
But when you see your features on someone else's body, there are a lot of things that come into play, like body chemistry, body movements, body language, how someone speaks, their linguistics, the grammar that they choose to use. All of those things, if they're like even off by a fraction, which they always are,
Right.
then your brain is immediately going to perceive that as they don't look like me, they don't sound like me, they don't talk like me, they don't walk like I do. And when you hear doppelganger, a lot of people also have the perception that this person looks exactly like me down to 100% T.
Right.
They talk like I do. They walk like I do. We're going to say the same sentence at the exact same time. And
It's more
that's not the
twins.
case, because that's not what a doppelganger
Right.
is.
It's more twins that have that little vibe going.
Right, which is a topic on its own that I think we should fucking get into, because that could be so interesting to the fact that it's creepy.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so like, and that's where the situation comes up where all of your friends are like, "Oh my god, you look exactly like this person," and then you're just sitting there like, "Yeah, I don't see it. That's not true."
Yeah. Because I mean, you only ever really see your reflection, which
Right.
flips your facial features, obviously. So when like, have you ever taken a picture on your phone in like selfie mode and then flipped it to where it's supposed to actually look like you?
Yes, I always flip it because I feel like the picture that it takes is completely ugly and I'm disgusting, and then when I flip it, it looks
Oh
better.
God, I'm the opposite.
Really?
Yes, and I think it's because it takes the picture as I actually see myself. So when I flip it, it's like it doesn't look like me. But my face is very it's not symmetrical. I figured that out. Part of like one side of my head is higher than the
Mhm.
other, and it sounds weird, but like my face kind of grows one way. And I don't really know how else to explain it.
I I understand what you're saying. I don't see it on your face, but I get what you're
Yeah.
saying. But like I hate the fact that I have one hooded eye and then the other eye isn't.
Yeah, it's
I
like
don't
little
know.
weird shit.
Yeah, and like it's probably stuff that like me and you only recognize in ourselves because we analyze our face probably a lot more than other people do.
Yeah.
But if I see it, that's all I fucking need.
Yeah, like now I know.
Yeah.
No, it's there. I know my face grows lopsided because I flipped my picture once and I was like, "What in fuck is that?"
See, I flip my picture and I'm like, oh, okay, I look 10 times better when I do this. I'm just going to flip it. So every time I ever post a selfie online, I go into the settings and I horizontally flip that picture before I upload
Ugh,
it.
I can't. It makes me look so much worse. Cause see, I do have a good side. Do you have a good side?
Oh, yeah, I have a good
My
side.
right side is my good side.
Okay, I feel you.
Fuck
What
my
is
left
that?
side.
I think my right side is also my good side.
I feel like you can look at me dead on and I look fine. You can look at my right
Mhm.
side profile and I look fine, and then you look at my left side profile and it's like, wait a minute. What happened?
Something's off here.
What happened there? It looks real weak.
Okay, so question. If you take your bad side and you flip it horizontally, does it look more like your good side?
I don't know.
Like maybe that's what I'm trying. Maybe that's what I do whenever I think like I do my thing.
I mean, it's a good thing because I have done where it like splits your face and then puts those two sides together. Like, it's a good thing that I don't
Uh
have a symmetrical face, because when you put both sides together that are the same, either way you slice it, I look fucking dumb.
huh. Oh God, I understand you there.
But
I just don't. I sometimes I'll go weeks without posting something online, even though I'm actually taking a picture every single day. But I'm like, yep, still look like shit. Yep,
yeah,
still look like shit.
still
Um,
look like Jodie Foster? I don't think so.
still look like Jodie Foster. You
Uh,
is kind.
yeah. That's,
You is important.
oh shit.
All right. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of my segment. I've got at the notes at the bottom, like I've never heard of story of someone dying because of seeing their doppelganger, like an actual factual thing. Like it's not. Some people think that it is like hardcore true, and some people think that it's just like a bad omen, and that it's just not a good sign,
Yeah.
like a bird flying into your window.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's pretty much all that I've got for
Well,
now.
before we end
Um,
here, I wanna say something because
yeah.
you pointed something out about me that made me think again.
Uh-huh.
So you were like, I'm hitting the segues like on the head. A lot of, if you're
Yeah.
listening, like Daniel and I don't communicate about what we're gonna talk about. Like, we don't say, like, lay out our notes for each other when we're doing this. So I don't know what he's going to talk about next. We don't plan the segues. It's
Right.
just things that I'll say and then he's like, "Oh, that leads perfectly into this." Well, that one time when I was in college, because we were talking about like you're sensitive to spirits and shit, and I've been
Uh-huh.
told I'm an empath.
Uh-huh.
One time this guy told me, he was like, "I think that your brain is so observant that it just picks up on little habits throughout like your daily life and of people, and it stores them
Mm-hmm.
somewhere, and you start to culminate them, and because you notice patterns in behavior or anything like that, you get
You
these
know where it's gonna
feelings, yeah,
go.
like about when something's going to happen, because you've subconsciously picked up on a pattern of that person's life or their speech or something like that. And that was, I just remembered that when you said that about me hitting the
That somebody
segues,
said
because
that to
it's
you.
like my brain's picking up on like where you might go with your next bit of information.
That's probably why you can kick my ass in
It
chess.
might be. I am really good at chess.
Yeah.
uh, I got a
Oh,
problem solving mind, as my mom puts it.
I wish. I'm jealous.
Oh, it's not great, man.
It's not
I
great.
really wish I wasn't a cusp date either.
Well, you pretty much just explained the root of your anxiety.
That, yeah, that's it. That's it. I just store way too much fucking information in there. I know what's gonna happen before it happens, and I'm anxious about it constantly. Oh shit!
Oh God.
I'm gonna.
Listen, if you get an inkling that the world's gonna end, I need to know.
I need to know so we can stock up.
Yes. which it's, it could be on its way.
It could
We
be.
never know.
You never know.
Well, you know.
I know. But
You know.
do I know? I know. I'll know when I
Do you
know.
know who shit on this guy's Tesla?
I know.
Don't tell him. He said it's not worth it.
I'll never tell him. Fuck him, Michael.
Fuck you, Michael.
Fuck you, Michael. Sounds like Michael shit on his own car.
Ooh, plot twist. I wouldn't be. He took a restroom break while his girlfriend was out at like having a nice fancy dinner and was, all right, I'll show her.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk. Maybe that little closeted asshole was like, I gotta do something to get her off of me because she actually likes me this time, so I'm just gonna go shit on my car.
See? I bet Michael shit on his own fucking car because sometimes in your lies, you can be too specific. All right?
Absolutely.
Now, who the fuck notices right off that there's no piss?
I wouldn't. And like, okay, this is gross, but would it have dried?
That's what I'm thinking. See, you don't know, indicating that you know more than you're letting on. Because you don't know how long the shit's been there. You didn't mention the consistency of the shit. Was the shit dried?
Exactly. All we know is that there was 2 logs and a ball.
Right. Did it have time to run down your windshield, indicating it had been placed there for quite some time? Because then the piss could have dried. You're giving me a little too much information that's not pertinent to anything, and I don't believe you, Michael.
Yeah, I don't believe Michael either. We just solved this case.
Yeah.
We should collect our money.
Michael shit on his own car. Michael brought shit with him to the date, and he used that to get out of going on another date.
Yes. And listen, it says, good intel who did this equals good money. We are entitled.
See?
It's our money and we need it now.
We need it now. Michael shit on his own car. She was very conservative, he said. He knew that. Yep. Shit might scare her away.
I mean, shit would probably scare me away a little bit.
That's right. You got a lot of enemies. No, you don't.
No.
Shit on your own car. So. That's my final answer. I'll buzz in with Michael shit on his own Tesla.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, you guys. So that is all that we have for this podcast today. I just want to say thank you to all the essential workers out there that are putting up with absolute bullshit. I want to say thank you to whoever shit on Michael's car.
It was a great job, even though it was Michael.
Yeah. And don't forget, if you have any doppelgangers or if you want to do hashtag National Lookalike Day and then do at Clearyourcache Podcast, we would love to look at those and comment and talk to you guys on Instagram. So be sure to go check that out and do that. Stay safe, stay sane, stay inside, wash your fucking hands. And we will see you guys next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.